Hello and welcome to what should have been the first ever Ricky's Reviews in English, but I guess it's the first Ricky's Review since that time it had a different name. And we're going to talk about whatever. It's not even worth talking about it, to be honest. Well, that's at least my ground-like impression. Seriously, the point of line is to be a little bit different. That's what I should say. So if you have that in mind, yeah, well, different is what it is, and I just don't understand this, but whatever. The game was made for the Xbox and the PC, and it features platforming uh, weirdness that it's even hard for me to put my finger on like what the goal was. And it is really interesting that they make these kinds of games sometimes, but it would be interesting if like some things make sense. So like you get greeted to this game with all these like amazing art and like the graphics is like overall so good, but then you get this intro sequence without any voice. And I get it, like you want to create your own world, you want to do stuff, but nah, that it just doesn't work. Like you don't even understand what the hell's going on, and then you get greeted by your character and you try to use these controls and they don't give you a tutorial, and maybe you shouldn't need one because the ground concept, like the core concept that you get greeted with, it should be enough, but hell it isn't. And I must say that I after a while I got a little bit of a hang on it and I get my speed up, and there are some good ideas here, but it just fails on it. Like the graphics and the sound, it's good. They try a different style and I kind of like it, and it goes together pretty well, but it really doesn't add anything to an experience, and it can't really be itself. That you can't just look at the game, you have to feel it. A game is different from a movie, so style of music, even though it's really well made, even though they get it real well done here, it doesn't work at all the way I would have wanted it to, and it doesn't explain stuff for you. So over to the gameplay. Platforming and the controls are awful. Like I don't even understand how they made this. The buttons feels wrong, but when you get a hang of it, then it actually goes on a little bit better. But if you look at some other really strong titles for these concepts like braids, those kinds of games like the Xbox exclusive platformers, where Braid is like the biggest one, then you should have seen those and compare it to this. And yeah, you can play with your mouse and keyboard, which is a lot worse. So I recommend just using your control pad from an Xbox or a control pad for the PC if you want to do that. Otherwise, it's unplayable. And you try to reach like these thingies, and you can switch between the world to solve puzzles, which is actually a really nice and neat feature. But so many games have this now, so it doesn't feel new, and they don't do it better than anyone else, so I don't really understand. And then they take a lot of these like time trial thingies, and most of the obstacles in the game is to actually do things fast at the same time as you're collecting stuff. It really pisses me off when they do this, because if it was a fair challenge, yeah, well, no problem. If it was a good story, well, no problem. But I don't understand the story, and the challenge itself is mostly just working with the fucking controls. And then you get greeted by stuff without getting a tutorial when you have your speed limit going on. It just doesn't make much sense to me. And when I'm playing it, it frustrates me. I can't take that kind of thing from a game like this. I just can't. And to think that they would do something like this to try and be special and then fail so miserable when they know that there are so many games from old that has already done the same thing. Like if you get up your speed and like trying to do stuff, if you understand the concepts, well then actually it becomes a little bit more fun. So it takes a little bit of practice, it takes a little bit of time, but is it as rewarding that it needs that kind of time? Does it really have to be like this? No. And that is the biggest complaint. And then when you get the hang of all that, you get to these like obstacles where you fucking can't go on with the game. I tried so many times, and it's like it works only when it wants to. And these things I've only seen like in really old school Nintendo games. Like what the fuck is going on? Like, you're gonna see it here like when I'm playing in the videos. Like I'm pressing a button to try and raise a platform by singing, and the singing never ever stops, and it still doesn't do anything. And I try and I try and I try, and I can't figure out how to get on with the game. I get stuck, and then it took me like 30 minutes to figure it out, But then when I try and do it again, and I have to do it multiple times, it still doesn't work. So I actually don't know what I'm supposed to do. And when things like that happen too often in a game, and when the tutorials isn't there and everything, it just has no userability, which I really would have appreciated. Overall, Flyn is one of those games that you should just avoid. I give this game a 2, and it really frustrates me. It makes me angry to play it, and it makes me angry that they make something like this in a modern world where games of this caliber should have like been, they should play test, they should talk to people, they should try and make like the gameplay go together before they even release it, and then after that they should even polish everything else so it makes a little bit more sense. Well, game is art, but art in itself can't only make a game, and that's the biggest problem we find. They try so fucking hard to do something and they fail miserably. Do not buy this game. I don't want anyone to buy this game. It's not even worth it for a really fair price. If you get it for free, you can try it out just to see how things work out. And maybe if you can get a hang of the controls, or if you can explain to me, I'll give this one a little bit of a more try. But for now, I just can't stand it anymore. And well, basically, if you can't stand a game, the game just isn't good. And I play so many platformers, like just take one other. There's so many. Till next time, Undertaker out.